I'm Lexi Vollmer, and this is a training manual for sanctuary wolves. For training methods, we will focus on classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and positive reinforcement. Classical conditioning is learning to associate two unrelated stimuli with each other, as pictured here, the ringing of a bell with the presentation of food. Operant conditioning is learning to associate a desired behavior with consequences, whether that be rewards or punishments. We'll be focusing on positive reinforcement, which will be giving rewards. For training philosophy, as I said, we will be focusing on positive reinforcement. The other quadrants as well are negative reinforcement, so taking something away to increase the likelihood of a behavior, and then positive punishment and negative punishment, which are either adding something or taking something away to decrease the likelihood of a behavior happening. We want really good retention with our training, which is the animal continuing to do the desired behavior even after the initial training has ended. We also want to focus heavily on safety. These are very large, dangerous animals. We want to make sure that staff are safe. So by avoiding punishment trainings and stuff like that, we decrease the likelihood of the animals having any aggressive behaviors or redirecting on the handlers. This also increases the human-animal bond by associating good things such as food rewards with the handlers. The species overview. Gray wolves are the largest of the canid family, as you can see pictured here next to close relatives. They have a very diverse range in which they live, different habitats, different climates. They have very strong senses of hearing as well as scent. So these are things to keep mind of when you're training. If you're in a noisy environment or an environment with a lot of different human smells and stuff like that could be distracting to the wolves. They are also predatory animals, so incorporating a large amount of protein in their diet as well as training rewards. And they are also social animals. So keeping them in enclosures with multiple individuals, with the exception being if there are any animals that do not do well in group settings, having places where they can be separate for both their safety and also to keep stress levels down. For training application, we'll be focusing on 3 different sets of training. The first one being sit, so having the wolves sit when handlers enter the enclosure will help increase the safety for staff if the wolves are holding a sit versus them all rushing the person when they come in. So catching this behavior when you see them sit, offer rewards. Do this several times until they start to associate that behavior with the reward, add the verbal cue, sit to it, and proceed with several sessions from there, and then begin to offer rewards on a variable ratio basis. So being unpredictable in which time you will give a reward for the desired behavior. That way the wolves will be more likely to keep performing the behavior on the chance that the next time they do it, they will get that reward. The next one, approach fence. You can see pictured here, this handler is giving the animal food from a treat bucket. You can see visitors in the front row here. This is good not only for the example of bringing the animals close for visitors to see, but as well for staff to lay eyes on the animals. It's a very quick, easy thing for them to see if anyone's limping, if there's anything visibly wrong. So by having the handlers feed treats whenever people approach the fence, it builds that association that approaching means food. For this one, I would do it consistently just to have them come up regularly, and you can also offer novel foods for this as well. And then the last one is urinating on a marker. This would be for medical purposes to check their urine to see if there's anything wrong. So catching them when they're doing their normal scent marking, rewarding them for it, luring them to a position that is easily accessible for staff. This can be at the fence as well. and then introducing a marker. This can be any easily identifiable object on a stick. I recommend a frisbee. They're bright, simple shapes, and having the animal urinate on that object. Once they have all of these steps down, you can introduce a collection object, whether this be a cup or something similar, to catch the urine, so that staff can easily and replicatably collect urine as needed for medical exams. There you go. So for quick reference, body language, context is key here. So for example, here we have a yawn. If the animal has just woken up or exercised or something similar, then the yawn probably means that they're tired. If you see a yawn outside of those circumstances, take into account if there's anything new in their environment, or anything that might be stressing them out, as this is a stress indicator as well. For reinforcers, focusing on different kinds of food, so large animal, small animal, so deer, pig, cow, rabbits and squirrels, stuff like that, as well as novel proteins such as fish and chicken, to sort of vary up the different foods that you can give them. For management, taking into account different aspects of the wolves themselves. They may do better being taught in groups, as they are pack animals. It might be faster for them to catch on this way if they see the other animals in their pack performing a behavior and being rewarded for it. They're also crepuscular, which means they're more active at dawn and dusk. So training during these times when they're most active, you will get more attention out of them, and can receive better training results. Lastly, we have tools. Pictured here is a clicker. This is a secondary reinforcer. So you give a click after the desired behavior, and the animal begins to associate that sound with the behavior and that they've done what you've asked. Another example that was previously mentioned is the marker for urine collection. Animal sees that, and they have associated that a certain action should be performed when they see that marker. And here are references. Thank you for watching my presentation.